Thank you very much. Good to be back on the committee. Representative Stefanik, congratulations on your nomination. To start off with, I'll say that I've made no secret about the fact that I've got a healthy degree of skepticism about the United Nations. In fact, I've introduced a bill to defund it. But I believe you're properly equipped and prepared to handle the challenges within the United Nations between now and whenever we might have the wisdom to defund it, should that occur. And look forward to working with you on that and on your efforts to reform it from within during your time, should you be confirmed. Now, the United States is one out of 193 member states belonging to the United Nations. In this setting, the U.S. will obviously need to engage with allies and bring about any needful, proper reforms within the UN. Who do you consider our best allies within the UN system?
The Brits are a very important ally in the Security Council. Israel is a key ally. I think we need to continue to make inroads with developing countries within South America and Africa. It is important to build on the success. China has had a significant effort to try to peel off those votes in the General Assembly. So I think we need to approach it that every country has one vote. And I know that as a House member, no matter what your district is, you have one vote. We need to build up and build our coalitions. Japan is obviously a key ally. Australia is a key ally. But on the P5, the Brits, we share so many values and are incredibly important. French are also an important ally as well. And then Israel. Israel is a huge priority for me, and making sure that the rest of the world knows that the U.S. stands strongly with Israel.
And how would you describe the attitude of the United Nations as a whole toward Israel?
I would say it's anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic. My thoughts exactly. And that is a problem, given the U.S. relationship with Israel. It's a problem that the United Nations takes such a hostile approach. It's also concerning that within the United Nations Security Council, we have people who, let's just say, don't share our interests, who have veto power. How does that limit our ability to affect significant change within the United Nations?
It's a significant challenge. It's a challenge that the ambassador, and if confirmed, we will face every day with China and Russia's veto on the P5. And it's a challenge that we're going to need to continue addressing. It is important to speak out and stand up for American values and be a voice representing the United States of America at the Security Council, but it's a challenge.
The International Criminal Court maintains a liaison office at the UN headquarters in New York. And as you're aware, the U.S. granted the UN what it refers to as an inviolable headquarters district in 1947. The UN and the ICC also maintain a negotiated relationship agreement that obligates them to cooperate and exchange information. But of course, as you know, the U.S. is not a party to the ICC, and with very good reason. I hope we never ratify that. In light of this, what are your thoughts on the cooperative relationship between the UN and the ICC? And would you support a negotiation of the United Nations headquarters agreement to clarify that the UN shouldn't be housing other international organizations to which the U.S. is not a party, particularly those organizations that take positions hostile to the interests of the United States?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. I have a significant record pushing back on the ICC. It is, first of all, we are not party to it. It is targeted U.S. service members as well as targeting Israel. And we just passed on the House side important legislation pushing back on the ICC's disgraceful anti-Semitism. I want to take a look at what you just proposed. I am open to assessing that, and I want to work with our oversight members to do so. I do think it's important to make sure that no U.S. taxpayer dollars, that there is any connection to that, because it is counter to our values.
Right. And therein lies one of the problems. We are the largest donor nation to the United Nations. We also are in a situation in which most of the money that we contribute is voluntary, not mandatory. Nobody else comes close to what we dole out, and yet many of our interests are contravened by things that the UN does or has been doing, has been inclined to do. And that creates a problem. The problem is compounded further by virtue of how a lot of this money makes its way to the UN. We put something in the neighborhood of about $20 billion a year in there. And so, yeah, we can say we don't want our money going to X, Y, or Z, but it all gets put into a large sort of balloon. And what we might take out here, they might use somewhere else, and so we're still funding a lot of things that are hostile to our interests. So would you support tailored funding cuts? And if so, how would you bring about those cuts to make sure that it doesn't just come out in the wash somewhere else?
Yes, I would support tailored cuts. I want to work with our appropriators specifically on how we can be most effective and judicious in making those cuts. But it goes back to one of my main goals, if confirmed to this position, is being good stewards of U.S. taxpayer dollars and representing American values.
Great. Thank you very much. See, my time's expired.
Thank
Chairman.
you.